everybody, it's Margot and Kelly from My Favorite Quilt Store. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I am doing great.
I love your shirt.
Oh, well, thanks.
The V-neck's
it's
really
it's a new one that has a logo on it, huh?
I love it.
Yeah,
you
me
start
too.
selling them or something.
Maybe so. You never know. Hey, we have this wonderful black and white check pattern.
Love it.
It's called Check Me Out.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the small size. We're calling this the small buffalo check. And I tell you, the other night I had the other day, I had a fun time playing on EQ Quilter, and I came up with the big buffalo. And this is a 9.5 inch square of buffalo check that we're using the Curiouser and Curiouser line that I think is a lot of fun.
I love that one. And what size are these squares?
So these squares are 5 inches because these are charm packs.
Nice.
The white and the black are charm packs, and then we fussy cut the lights in this one. And as you can see on this one, we use the same in the mediums, and then we made the lights and the darks differently. And I cut this queen 9.5 inches. This is a 9.5 inch cut because I wanted to make sure we had enough dark edge around it to make sure it read dark.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you how I fussy cut these items, and then we're going to show you how to put together the block too.
I can't
A couple
wait.
separate videos so that they'll all be on YouTube, and also you can find them on our site. So first of all, you take your fabric that you're going to fussy cut out of, and it's a square of some sort, and decide on the animal you want to fussy cut. So I want to get this skunk out of here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see where the skunk really lines up, and I want to make sure that his face is not in the 1/4 inch seam allowance.
Oh.
So I'm going to put it out here. So his face is going to be in here, and I can either decide, do I want his tail in, or do I want his feet in? And I think I want his feet in is what I'd like to have, his feet just resting on the seam line. So this is the motif I want to cut. So what I would do if I'm cutting a lot of them is I would look for registration marks on this so that I can line this up the next time. Like the eyeball is right here in the crosshairs of the 3 and 4 inch mark. So I would line it up so that I can really get a good idea of what when I go back to cut the next one over here,
Yeah, to
I
keep it
know
consistent.
right where I want to put it so it does stay consistent. So I use a small mat when I'm doing this, and the reason why is because when you are fussy cutting, you can only really do two sides at one time. So we're going to fussy cut this way first. And you can see we've got this out. And then I'm going to flip the mat all the way around, and I'm going to cut the other two sides. So what I'm going to do at this point is make sure that I got it all lined up correctly, and I do on what I've previously cut. Make sure it goes on the edge of the ruler, and then I can cut this side going this way and that way. So the what you want to not do when you're fussy cutting, so this is what it looks like when you fussy cut and you take something out. We'll do this first. We'll show you. So you end up with a bunch of Swiss cheese. So this is what the top part looks like because I fussy cut my first part out of it. So, and this is my block that I have ready to put into the first, into my quilt.
I got a good pun for you.
What is that?
It's stinking cute.
It's stinking cute. It is. So what I want to show you is what not to do. And the first thing we want to not do is cut like this way, because you're cutting towards your hand.
Yeah, you can really
and
hurt
it's
yourself.
very dangerous. And to cut this way because it feels right, it is not, and you will not make an accurate cut. If you cut any way where you're not holding the rotary cutter where you can actually manage it in a straight situation, you are not going to get an accurate cut. So we don't want to cut those two ways. So what we do is we just move the mat around, get everything lined back up, and cut again. So this is the 5 inch square. Like I said, we've made the check me out with the 5 inch squares there and fussy cut the tails fabric, the panda fabric, the stinky fabric,
And the
the lemur fabric.
Yes.
Yep, here's the lemur fabric is right over here, the lemur fabric where the lemur's in the tree. So those are the ones we fussy cut. These you don't have to fussy cut because you can just cut a row all the way across, and same with this one, a row all the way across, and just chop it up because there's no design that has to be in the center of the quilt at all. So these are the easiest ones to cut.
what about the zebra?
The zebra, he is pretty easy too because there's really no way you can get him. If you just do a strip, you can easily get some of the zebras in each one of the blocks.
Nice.
So
So,
it's
the
really easy
bigger
to do there.
motifs is what you're going to want
The
to
bigger motifs are what you're going to fussy cut, or if there's something that you want to be in the center of a block, that's when you're going to fussy cut. So let's look at the Queen of Hearts. So we'll do the. Can you hand me the 9.5 inch ruler? So when I decided upon this block, I looked at my fabric and decided what size I wanted it to be. So I can tell you this is what my leftover piece was after I cut my blocks. So when looking at this piece, I wanted to make sure that the whole queen was inside, and I got the Q, and that the other thing was that I could have enough room on each of. I wanted to see where the sewing lines were on the outside and make sure that I had enough of the contrast, the darkest color around the outside, because if you cut it in too close, you're not going to have the dark color around it that gives you the buffalo check. So we had to make it a little bigger so that we could make it look like a buffalo check when we finally got it done. So this is the pink queen, and I'm going to cut the red queen out to give you an idea of what the red queen looks like. So
She's beautiful.
So when I went to cut this, this particular fabric it was already cut off the bolt this way, and so I'm not going to worry about this queen over here. So this is the first queen that I'm going to cut, and I cut them right up next to one another, and actually cut the first line so that I don't have as much fabric to move around, because that is where it becomes hard, is if you have too much fabric to move around. So when I center my ruler on this, my 9.5 inch ruler that I can see through easily, I'm going to make sure that my seam allowances are where I want them on each side, and that the queen is very centered. And when I cut these, this heart shape should be at the bottom of that's what my goal was, to have the heart shape at the bottom of this particular line right here.
With the little circle.
With the little circle in it. This one has a circle, and I can turn it around this way. So anyway, what I was trying to do is make sure that I had my heart thing line up with this particular thing right here. So this runs straight up the center of the queen. And so then what I do is I know this is where I want my first cut to be. Oop, I shut my rotary cutter versus opened it. So I make my first cut up there, and I hold my ruler very, very still and in place. Come across this way. Turn the entire mat and fabric all at the same time.
May have to readjust just a little bit.
Yep, you usually have to readjust a little bit. I pull off these extra pieces so I can make sure that I've got this exactly where I need to be. On my two cuts that I've already have.
And so what you were saying was you want to make sure you keep that the 1/4 inch seam allowance clear of any of the motif.
Exactly. So that when you sew, that you make sure that you're not, you don't have any of the 1/4 inch seams in there. So this is the red queen, and I'm going to be making a quilt with the red queen, similar to this one,
Awesome.
out of this particular one. So this is how you fussy cut. I hope we've given you enough information that you can,
I think I have one more question.
okay, what is that?
What would you consider one block on this quilt? And how would you break that apart?
This quilt?
Yes.
Let me show you. Hold on one second. Let me grab something off screen, and I can show you 100% that. So the red queen goes in the bottom corner,
Okay. So just like we would do the pink.
just like you do the pink, And I have still been trying to decide if I'm gonna put this up and down stripe or horizontal stripe, but I think I'm liking the up and down look. And then I've got this cute cat. So this is, I'm calling this
The Cheshire Cat.
the Cheshire Cat. So this is the Queen and Cards. The Queen of Hearts cards quilt, cat and cards. Cat and cards. So this is the block. So the great thing about this particular block when you set it all up is that
It doesn't matter which way, really, because those cats.
it doesn't matter which way you set this up because the cats are multi-directional. And so I do like this leading your eye downward instead of across the quilt. I like it leading downward, down to the queen. And so this block is really easy to make, and we're going to sew one together here for you shortly. And some together for you shortly. And the thing is, once you make one block, they're all the same, and so you can start sewing the rows together from the beginning. So I made one block, I made 2 blocks, and then sewed those together. Then made 2 more blocks, sewed those together, made those 2 blocks and those 2 blocks, those 2 blocks, and then sewed that together and made 1 row. And then I did that all the way down, and so I really basically had everything made, and I was sewing them by the time I was to the bottom. All my rows were put together, everything was put together. So this is a pretty big block.
Yeah.
When you're done, I think it's 18.5 inches when it's totally done. So, or 18 inches when it's totally done. So anyway, this is the next quilt that we're going to be working on that I'm going to show you.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, me too. So anyway, we hope you understood what we're talking about when we're talking about fussy cutting and making this quilt, because we think this is a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, please send us a comment, call us.
Yeah,
email.
call us in case I missed something on this demo. Let me know. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks for joining. Now that we've just finished fussy cutting out our red queen, we're going to give a little demo on how to sew the buffalo check block with some tips and tricks. We hope to see you soon.